Good morning, guys. Today, I actually want to talk about something that is critical to every single entrepreneur I have ever met, yet every single entrepreneur I have ever met neglects it, and that is finding and acquiring customers. And I want to keep today's video really actionable, so we're going to do a screen share. I'm going to explain to you how to build a customer acquisition plan where you will see exactly where your customers are coming from and take the guesswork out of growing your business. I'm gonna go grab my computer and I will talk to you guys in a second. All right, guys, I'm back. And we're sitting in front of my computer. As you can see, you can probably see my screen. And I want to talk a little bit about the nuts and bolts of your marketing plan and how you can create a reliable marketing plan that you can use as a reference or as a guide so that every single week or every single month you can check this, you can look at your data, you can look at your analytics, and then you can reference this marketing plan to ensure that you're on track, or if you're behind track, you can adjust it, or if you're ahead of track, you can celebrate. So why don't we get right into it? I like to create a simple marketing plan just using Google Sheets. And as you can see, we have an empty spreadsheet here. And the way I approach marketing is that you have three big buckets for your customer acquisition. And those three buckets are social, organic, and paid traffic. And social, obviously, are all the social networks: Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest, etc., YouTube. You have organic, which can be direct visits to your website or direct visits, downloads to the app from the App Store, or search. So somebody comes from a search engine and finds you that way. And then finally, the last big bucket is paid. So if you're doing any paid advertising, that's what paid would come from. And so we're going to just lay out these three big buckets, major buckets for your customer acquisition, for your marketing plan. We're just going to lay them out here in this spreadsheet. And I'll make this spreadsheet available after the video. You can check the link below, and it'll be available. So you can take it and download it and use it for your business. But I'm just going to walk through with you my process for how we create it, just so that you understand how it works. After that, once it's created, you can just change the different numbers in the cells, and it'll update for you automatically. So why don't we get started? So let's look at social first, because that's what most people view as their primary customer acquisition channel, especially if you don't have a big budget to acquire customers. So why don't we get started there? So with social, obviously the four major social networks that we have right now are Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, well, there's five, and YouTube. So we have YouTube. And then with social, the way I like to look at it, and this will kind of vary, but what you have to look at first are your followers. So we're creating a funnel here, and the funnel kind of goes like this, and you're at the top of the funnel is just all the people you touch, all the people that you come in contact with. The second is the people who you come in contact with that take action. The third one is, and maybe they visit your website or they click on a link. The third one is if you have, and this will vary if you're an e-commerce business or the type of business that you're in and how your funnel actually flows. But some businesses, they actually set up like an email capture or something like that. And then some businesses should drive to a sale or a reservation page. And so this will vary a little bit based on the business that you're in, but I'm going to assume that for our purposes, we have a lead capture page or some way to capture a lead, and then after that, we have some type of conversion, which is a sale or a purchase of some sort. So let's look at the number of followers. So we have followers here. After that, we'll have, after we have followers, we actually have clicks. So clicks from that social network, or visitors. We can call them clicks or visitors. And then after that, we have lead. And so that's just people who, if you capture email or something like that, that's people who enter their email address. And then you'll have sales or conversions. And if you don't capture leads, you probably should. But if you don't, one of the things you can just do is you can just remove the leads column, and then we can update that. And maybe I'll have two versions of the spreadsheet, and you guys can, you can take it and do what you will. Okay, now that we have kind of created just the setup for the for social, what we're going to do next is we're going to create a new tab in the spreadsheet, and it's just going to have our assumptions. And for those of you who aren't familiar with projections, basically assumptions are just our best guess for the actions that people will take. Okay, so let's it's really simple, but for now I'm going to create a new tab here, and I'm just going to name this tab assumptions. And the first tab we'll just name sources or traffic sources. Let's just rename this channels. And for the assumptions, why don't we have we're going to kind of mirror this. Why don't we say for assumptions, we'll just copy and paste all these channels. And we'll just say social. And so basically what we're going to do is we're just going to make a guess for the conversion rates and the rates that people will take action. So let's say, for example, we think that for the number of followers that we have, Facebook followers, call it 1% of those followers, or call it, let's say 3% of those followers will actually click through to our site. And for Instagram, let's say, 2% might click through to our site. And this is going to vary. And Twitter, maybe 1% are going to click through to our site. And maybe Pinterest presence is really good, 5%. And YouTube, maybe it's 10% because we have a really close audience and people really like us. And so we're just going to name this click-through rate, the click-through rate assumption. And then what we'll have, the next one we'll have is conversion rate. Let's call it CPA, CPL, which is cost per lead, and not CPL. Let's just call it lead conversion rate. So that's basically the lead conversion rate is basically the number of people who click through to your website from each one of these channels, what they convert at. So let's just say, I'm going to say 15% across the board because we have a landing page that is pretty standard. So our lead conversion rate is 15%. Okay. And then what we'll also do is from the lead capture page to the page where people actually sign up or they pay for something, there's another percentage rate. And so let's say that turns into another 1%, or another 10%. So the people who hit our lead capture page, or lead conversion, the number of people who convert into leads, what percentage of those people convert into sales? And so we'll also kind of, why don't we say conversion rate? And this is from the lead capture page. And usually that's about 10%. That's a good assumption that you can make. I like to kind of do this. This might be a little bit overkill, but I like to have this granularity so that if one of the channels change or one of the channels outperform, then you can just go in the spreadsheet and you can change the assumptions, and then your model, your entire marketing plan will update. So it's pretty cool once you see it all set up. So what we'll do is we'll go back to this page, and we're just going to set up the formulas that will go in the spreadsheet. And so it's actually pretty simple. We'll take this here from the assumptions. We'll say this B2, and I think it's B. We
want to keep B static, so we'll say B2 times the number of followers. Great. And so we haven't filled in the followers cell yet. But if we fill it in, then what we'll see is, okay, so say we have 10,000 followers on Facebook. Then we'll have 300 clicks a month from Facebook. So you can see how this kind of fills itself in. We can do the same thing with leads. So we have our assumptions for leads is actually, we made an assumption of 15% for the lead conversion rate. And so that means that it's 15% times the number of visitors that you get. So that's 45 leads if you have 10,000 followers. And then the sales and conversion rate ends up being this times the actual conversion rate assumption that we have here, which is in D2 in the assumptions tab. Okay, so this model says that if you have 10,000 followers, what you'll have is you can expect maybe 5 sales from 10,000 followers every month from Facebook. And so we can take this same model and we can kind of cut and paste this all the way down. And once we start to fill this in, say you have 20,000 Instagram followers, that means you'll get 6 sales. And maybe you have 500 Twitter followers, that means you won't even, maybe you'll get 1 sale, maybe less. So, let's say 1,000 just to be safe. Still small. So, maybe you don't get any sales from Twitter every month. And Pinterest, maybe the number of followers you have on your boards, it could be, 20,000 followers, right? And then YouTube, maybe you have 5,000 followers on YouTube, and that's the number of sales. So this kind of, you can see how it flows really nicely into this. This is the number of sales. You can see how this flows really nicely, and you could say, okay, well, great. I can expect 30 sales from social every month if I don't do anything else. And so that, based on the numbers I have, and this can change. You have to look at your analytics. You have to set up your analytics and track all this stuff. But this is a great way to set up your marketing channel. So that's just social. Now we're going to go through the next two channels, and this will kind of give you a really nice marketing plan. And after that, you can use this on a weekly or monthly basis to track whether you're hitting your plan, whether you're hitting your marketing plan or not, your marketing goals or not. The next one that we have is organic. Now we don't have, and the 2 channels that you usually have with organic, or the 2 main sources in organic, are usually direct visitors. And this is usually people who visit, by word of mouth or something like that, and they just pull up your website, or maybe they go directly to your link of the store and they download the app, and as well as search. So these are 2, and there's no followers, so we won't fill out that. We'll kind of just leave that empty. But we do have, we can say visitors. So say you get 500 visitors, and your search, maybe you get another 500 visitors. Now we have to set up the assumptions for direct. I don't know what you guys, I mean, everyone does these types of things differently. Usually with, why don't we just keep it the same to keep it simple? So we'll just say organic, and we'll have direct, right? And did I do that the same way? Okay, I flipped it. So why don't we say direct, just to keep it organic. And then we had direct. And then we have search. Okay. And there's no click-through rate, right? So there's no click-through rate. Maybe you have a lead capture page, or maybe there is some type of lead capture page. But if you don't, then why don't we just have conversion rate? Why don't we just keep it simple for organic? Because usually those types of people, maybe they don't go through a specific landing page process. So usually a good average conversion rate from from either search or organic is 2%, depending on what you're selling, and so that we'll just have 2%. So we have clicks and visitors, and then we'll just have sales because we're only doing conversions. So it's 500 times 0.02, which is this direct. And so you can expect 10 sales from direct, and then maybe another 10 sales from search, right? And again, this will vary based on the numbers. So you'll have to update. You'll have to update each one of these. I'll actually, why don't we highlight it in yellow? These are the fields that you will have to update yourself, because I don't know your numbers. I don't have your analytics. So why don't we so these are the ones in yellow that you can update. And so that was easy. Organic's really simple because usually it's not a complicated flow. And then the final one that we have is paid. And with paid, what you can do is you can say, all right, well, what are two? Usually we have paid social, and we have paid search. But why don't we just say, okay, just to kind of keep it simple, let's just copy these same channels, right? And most people advertise on Facebook, so I'm just gonna keep paid. I'm just gonna do Facebook and Google, just because most people don't. If you're beginning, you probably aren't advertising in a bunch of different places. Google. And what we'll do is we'll just say I want to do cost per click. So cost per click is basically the cost for each click that you're paying for, depending on the channel. You also want to know how many clicks or visitors. And why don't we just keep the same funnel that we have from social? We'll just keep that for paid as well. Let's bold this. Let's bold this too. And then what we'll do is we'll just say we'll take this entire thing. Let's paste this here. We'll just say let's bold this so it's easier to read. Let's bold this for consistency. Let's call this paid, and let's just keep Facebook, and let's just say Google. Delete rows 14 through 16. Perfect. And then let's call this Google. Okay. Now, this is actually going to be CPC, which is your cost per click. And let's just say Facebook, your cost per click is 30 cents, and Google, your cost per click is 60 cents, right? Let's say your lead conversion rate, maybe with Google it's a little bit higher because your intent is there. With Google, because a lot of it is search, that means people have a higher intent, which means they're actually looking for hopefully they're looking for what you're selling. So your intent will be higher, and obviously you'll get paid a little bit more, or you'll have a higher conversion rate. So lead capture rate, let's say it's 25%, and your conversion rate, let's just keep it at 10%. And lead conversion rate maybe is 10% on Facebook because it's not quite intent. Facebook has a lower conversion rate. Okay, perfect. And then we can jump back over here and we can do the same thing. So we could say, all right, we have cost per click. So why don't we do spend? Actually, spend should be here. So your total budget, let's call it budget. Let's say you have a $500 a month budget for Facebook and a $500 a month budget for $500 a month budget for Google. And why don't we say, okay, the cost per click equals this divided by this guy. So that means you're going to get 1,600 clicks for Facebook, and this divided by this guy. B13. I just want to double check and be sure that this is correct. Yeah, B13, B14. Okay. And you'll get 833 clicks for Facebook. And then what we'll have is we have leads. So the leads will basically be based on this number of visitors or clicks. What we'll do is we will so we're going to look at the conversion rate for the number of leads that come from our paid campaigns on Facebook. And the way we do that, again, simple drill is C14 times the conversion rate assumption that we have, the lead conversion rate assumption that we have for Facebook. And then we'll do the same thing. Actually, this isn't right. C14 divided by, or times, actually. Yeah, that's it. So it's a 10% conversion rate, which means we'll get 166 leads. And let's do the same for Google because we assume that it had a much higher lead conversion rate. And then lead conversion rate. And then finally, we'll also look at the sales and conversions, which means this times the number of leads that you get times the conversion rate. And there you go. Great. So what I actually like to do is at the end of especially for paid channels, I like to get a good idea of how much each customer or each lead is going to cost me. Because if you know that, then you can know that maybe it's too expensive to acquire customers through that channel. So for paid channels, I'm going to add a CPL, which is the cost per every lead that you're paying for. And then I'll also add a CPA, which is the cost per every acquired customer. And so why don't we just add those two in there? And the formula for that is basically the number of sales times divided by, or the budget, sorry. It's the budget divided by the number of sales or conversions. So sorry about that. The cost per leads or budget divided by the number of leads. So it's $3 per lead. And then the cost per acquired customer is the budget divided by the number of sales. And we'll kind of pull that down and do the same thing here for Google. And as you can see, Google, if you can get it right, this kind of tells you, the cost per acquired customer is less expensive than, on Google than it is on Facebook. So it's good to kind of look at this and have this all planned out. And then what's nice with this is that you can say, all right, well, if this is my marketing plan, is this how everything is set up? Then you can say, all right, let's add all these up. And we can say total projected customers, let's call it. And then you can say, okay, this is how many customers I can expect every month. So it's going to be equals this plus this plus these two guys plus these four guys, right? Maybe it's wrong. And then we put a little thing around these guys. Let's see if this works. Nope. All right, why don't we just do a sum? See if this works. This should work. Okay, so we know that we're going to have 123 sales every month. And then what you can do is you can say, in our assumptions, we can have an average cost per sale, average revenue per sale, and say on average each sale you get is, call it like, say it's like $100. or say it's $60, right? Average revenue per sale is $60. And then you can say, you can go back here and say, this is projected revenue. Equals this times this. And so, so you'll make about $7,000 a month. And so this is a nice plan, because what it does is it allows you to kind of very methodically look at each channel and look at the traffic, and then if you need to grow in one area or the other, you can actually do it, and you have it laid out, and you can get more sophisticated. You can divide your goal by each week and say, okay, well, this is our growth goal and this is what we're hitting, and so this will give you a really good idea, and it forces you to be realistic about your business, which is what I really like about it. So that's it. I think that's it, guys. This is what I use as my marketing plan whenever I'm starting a business, whenever I'm analyzing it for clients, figuring out what their growth strategy is going to be. We kind of sit down and we talk through this, because we want to be realistic, and you want to be sure that your marketing is something that you can control, because marketing equals revenue, and revenue is your lifeblood. So hopefully this was helpful for you guys. If it was, definitely please subscribe, because I've got tons more content coming. I want to share all my entrepreneurial experience with you guys. And if this video was good, then like it as well. Again, thanks so much, guys. I will talk to you guys next time. Peace.